artists have always drawn inspiration from nature. But did you know that some of the greats also gravitated to personal gardening? These picturesque painters planted and pruned, and then they captured their cultivating creativity on canvas. Bill Robinson has harvested this bounty of beauty into an innovative exhibit called Painting the Modern Garden, from Monet to Matisse. Bill is the curator of the exhibit at the Cleveland Museum of Art. So we welcome you here to the show today.
It's wonderful to be here.
So this all started with Monet's water lilies, and then you dug into some research, and what did you find?
Well, we read through diaries and letters of artists, and we discovered that not only Monet, who was a great gardener, one of the greatest gardeners in history, but many of his colleagues, I mean, Impressionists that people will know, Renoir, Caillebotte, but also other artists like Matisse and so many others that I think people will be surprised to discover were not only passionate gardeners, but used their gardens as the subject and inspirations for their paintings. Wow,
okay, so they were really into these efforts, right? They're just not puttering in the garden like I would do.
Oh, no.
They're actually gardeners.
Well, so let's just talk about Monet, because he's the key figure. He's the touchstone. He started gardening in his youth. Wherever he lived, he gardened. And then, of course, during the last 30 years of his life, he created these great gardens, more than one at Giverny, the land gardens, the water gardens. He was consulting with experts around the world, importing plants from Asia and Africa and the Americas, crossbreeding them, creating new hybrids. And he's part of what was called the Great Horticultural Movement. And he was so world famous that expert gardeners came, interviewed him, they published articles about his gardens. And what's really exciting, though, and what people will see if they come to the exhibition, is the relationship between those gardening activities and his paintings.
Okay, so let's take a look at some of the paintings. Perfect. And then this new perspective on them. So we have, I think, Monet painting in his garden, and that was done by Renoir.
Exactly. This is such a wonderful painting. It's, you see Claude Monet in his garden at his first house at Argenteuil, standing at his easel. It's the only known painting of Monet actually working in his garden. Wow. And he's painting his prize dahlias, which is one of the many varieties that he grew.
Was it just the French Impressionists, or were there other artists?
No, that's what's so exciting about this. So we have American, British, Scandinavian, Spanish, Norwegian, so people will see a variety of garden paintings.
So this is, you have pieces by John Singer Sargent, I think. Is this the one of them?
Right, so this is a John Singer Sargent, who most people think of as, a portrait painter, but in fact, he painted gardens. This is a garden in Britain. It was the garden of another artist, and it's one of many studies that people will see in the exhibition for his painting called Carnation, Lily, Lily, Rose.
Okay, and also there's something by Van Gogh. So tell me about that garden.
There are two Van Goghs.
Oh, two Van Goghs, okay.
And Van Gogh was not himself a gardener, but he painted gardens. He wrote interesting things about him in his letters. He painted the garden of the asylum where he was interned for many years, and wrote very interesting things about them in his letters. This painting here is actually a garden of another artist, painted at Auvers in the north of France, just within the last months of his life, and it's very abstract. Van Gogh painted a series of pictures of this garden, and you can see that this is really a great masterpiece of modern art. And I mean, you just have to see this kind of painting in person because of the dynamic way in which Van Gogh paints.
Sounds like a fantastic exhibit. So if you want to see more of these gorgeous gardens, then you need to plant yourself at the Cleveland Museum of Art. The exhibit continues through January 5th. My thanks to Bill Robinson for giving us a fantastic preview today.
Thank you.
Learn more by calling the Cleveland Museum of Art at 216-421-7350 or visit www.clevelandart.org.